Hey everyone, welcome to NOLAnerdcast. I'm Finn, and I'm here joined by my always bestest of friends, Scott White. Scott, how you doing?
What's up, dude? I'm doing well. I'm still recovering from not being roomies at SGF.
It
felt weird.
Felt weird. It did.
It felt really weird.
You know what? We'll make up for that in PAX West.
Yep, extra snuggles at PAX West.
Exactly. So, Scott, for those that aren't aware of who you are, for one thing, shame on them. But why don't you tell them who it is you are and why you're so cool and why you're here?
Sure. So I am Scott White. I am a freelance and kind of staff writer at a bunch of places. Staff writer kind of at RPG Site, but then I also cover games and tabletop stuff at IGN, Games Radar, and Irrational Passions. So I kind of get around, and I am the host of the kind of perpetually on hiatus RPG podcast, RPG University, which I keep telling myself will come back one day.
Hey, it was great when I was on there.
I know. It's always a...
I feel like you put it on hiatus after our episodes because, how can you go past perfection, am I right?
I don't know. I think I went past perfection a couple times.
And then you realized that it wasn't worth it.
It's true. Maybe that was it.
Yeah. So, and also you are 1/3 of our Baldur's Gate co-op night. And prior to that, Divinity, I guess we just call it the Larian Squad. But yeah,
the Larian Legion.
There you go, the Larian League. But we're here to talk about Summer Game Fest.
Yeah,
and all of the non-indie games we played while we were there. Because my last episode I had on No Small Games, and we discussed all of the indie games. So in order to not tread over the same territory, I thought we'd talk about all the big, fancy, big publisher games that we got our hands on.
Yeah.
There was quite a few.
There was.
I was very impressed because, again, at my first SGF, I was not expecting to get so many hands-on with so many cool games. It was pretty darn cool. So, as my guest and esteemed friend, why don't you kick us off with one of the games you'd like to talk about?
I think probably my favorite, big game that I got to get my actual hands-on time with was Onimusha, Way of the Sword.
Yeah, this is one of the ones we both got to play.
Chunky demo this year. Got to walk around in a little village. I didn't realize this Way of the Sword was going to be kind of more like large open spaces,
right?
This time around, and got to cut up some dudes and a boss with lots of arms. So
and eyes and hands. Good. I think what was so cool about this is that this game comes out relatively soon. It's one of the infamous September
beginning of September.
Yeah, they pushed it up, actually.
Yeah.
But what's so cool is they released last year's PAX West demo to the public.
Mm-hmm.
But then this demo is completely unrelated to that. It's a huge, bigger chunk of it. Like you said, it's got some open world-esque aspects to it. There's side quests, there's icons, there's things to do on the map besides just like explore and find treasure chests and stuff.
Yeah.
But man, that demo, an hour just flew by. Like, I don't know about you, but playing that, the demo, I didn't want to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really solid demo. I really liked the bosses, and I really liked the option that you could have on where it would help provide you tips on what button to press, like to help you with counters and things like that. It didn't make Eason's like the insta kills easy. Like, it didn't have that buffer. But like the counters, I thought it was
I didn't use that, but I liked that it was an option because I think, especially for newer players, it as the Capcom rep mentioned, it didn't help with the timing that you needed, but it helped you start mentally combining a button input with an animation. So like if an enemy was doing a specific attack, it would be like, make sure you get ready to do this, whether it's dodge or block or parry, because all of those defensive maneuvers also had perfect timings that would trigger like really cool counters or animation effects. And I just thought it was really cool. I thought the fact that this plays like an Onimusha game and not a Souls game with an Onimusha name slapped on it was so important to me.
I was so worried last year
Yes.
that this would just turn into an Onimusha Souls, and I'm kind of on Souls fatigue. Like I'm still very much in the fatigue by the whole Souls-like genre. Like I enjoy them, but it's like so many people are going for that vibe. So playing Onimusha last year, first time at PAX, we got our hands on, I want to say, and then this more expansive demo this year at SGF, just really, it was like a breath of fresh air. So it was so nice to play, and it felt so good to play. And what really surprised me also was, so we got to try one demo, but then they demoed something completely different, which I wasn't expecting.
Right. The hands-off demo was also completely different. Like, they're giving us so many vertical slices of this game, and I think it speaks to how confident they are about the quality of the final product.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Companies aren't dumb. If they don't think they have a winner on their hands, they're not going to go out of their way to show us more and more of it.
Yeah.
So I'm between everything that we saw, everything that we played, I'm really excited for this. And
Capcom's had one hell of a year, and they're already setting themselves up for a really strong 2027, but holy crap, this has been a really good year.
All they're missing is Ghost Trick 2.
True.
And a new Ace Attorney.
And a Mega Man X. So they're missing some, but it's still been a very strong
but
year.
Next year we are going to get Mega Man 12. So
yeah, but it's not X. But I will take any Mega Man. I will support it, of course.
I'm going to go on the record of saying I'm a OG Mega Man over a Mega Man X fan, primarily.
It's okay.
I love me the X's. Don't get me wrong. But there's just something about Mega Man 12. I love it. By the way, quick aside. Do you know what's crazy? Is
the fact that everyone in Onimusha sounds British in the English VO.
Very British, right? Also, the comedy. It's a lot funnier of a game than I thought. That whole aspect about the boat, how he doesn't know how to use a boat.
Use an oar.
Which I thought was great. Do you think, I'm just throwing this out there, do you think we're going to run into Samanosuke? Or are they going to tie this at all into the greater Onimusha mythos?
I hope so. I hope we get Jubei or Samanosuke. I hope. I haven't honestly looked in the line on where, like, if that's feasible.
Yeah.
But I hope we do. I think that would be a really cool nod, and especially kind of like bringing it back around. I would also kind of be okay if, like, some of the costumes, like, you could have Musashi dress up in like Samanosuke's armor or Jubei's outfit.
If there's one thing Capcom's good at, it's having fun alternative costumes based on their own properties.
That is true. We'll probably get Mega Man Musashi as well.
I would love
there was Yamato
Mega Man Zero. Maybe a Zero, so that the story makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But or go full circle and you get a Frank West.
Stranger things have happened.
That's right.
You never know.
But yeah. Onimusha, I think, is poised to be one of the better games of this year. I think I would be shocked if it came out and was a flop of quality wise. I can't speak to sales. Hopefully, it's also a success. Capcom deserves successes for their games when they're pumping out this kind of quality.
Yeah.
What about what next? I think
I got to pick first. I think it's your turn to pick.
I wasn't going to count it because we had both played Onimusha, but let's do it. Let's run forward. I'm going to just briefly point out that I did get a 1 hour hands-on demo with Blood Message. Did you get to play Blood Message?
No, but I've heard very good things about Blood Message.
It's incredible. I have to say, considering I only first heard about it when they showed the debut trailer at the SGF conference, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know it was going to be there. That was one of my pie in the sky. It never hurts to say no. Hey, do you have any openings left? Because when they were booking, they were just like unannounced game and from an unannounced studio. And we're like, I don't know what that means. But yeah, no. So Blood Message, I think the best way to put it is it feels like 2018 God of War mixed with Ghost of Tsushima's vibes, but it's done in like a Chinese like way back in the day style. Like it just, I think what mattered most was for this being this studio, and according to them, very early in the development progress, it looked absolutely stunning. The graphical fidelity was crazy. The combat felt very visceral. When I say 2018 God of War, I mean it's kind of like the over-the-shoulder kind of thing.
Yeah.
But because it's not a third-person shooter, you're not stopping behind cover and everything. Like there are stealth elements where you can take down enemies if they don't see you at first. But the combat is so brutal. It has a lot of impact. I feel like if I had to compare it to another game, people might be able to make a connection to Hellblade's combat in the sense of like where it has weight to it. Hellblade 2, I guess, because you'll be swinging. There'll be contextual stuff. If you're fighting an enemy near a wall or a bookshelf or something, you will utilize that in the combat. Mm-hmm. It's very brutal as well and very realistic in the sense of there's no health bars. There's almost no HUD in the game at all. It's all just very cinematically presented. There was no like icon of where to go. There was no map markers. There was no health bar. There was no like compass map. The game was completely HUDless, which I thought was a really intriguing choice because the game and the camera work tells you where you're supposed to go. It's contextual clues and stuff. And so the combat is very brutal in the sense of like, you know, one hit and they're done. Like you're attacking with lethal weapons, and if you lodge your sword into someone's chest, they're not going to take a bump to the health bar. Like they're going down. And there's a parry system and a dodge system, and I thought the combat was very fun. I don't think it's going to blow anyone away in terms of, you know, it being innovative, but I thought when combined with the cinematic nature of the story and the camera angles and the way the whole game is presented, the combat felt really cool. And the story, like the demo ended right when I didn't want it to, if that makes sense. Like, there was a huge chase sequence where you're escaping and you're being fired upon by these bows and arrows, and then you're searching for your daughter, and you burst into your house and you find a letter, and you're like, oh damn, she's gone. I got to go after her. And then you walk out the door, and it's like boom, title sequence, and you're like, shit, I want more. But they don't have a date. They're not telling anyone anything until it's ready. But yeah, like considering I had no expectations going in and knew nothing about it, I walked away with Blood Message probably the most impressed I walked out of any demo, because I didn't have anything going in. Every other game I had some expectation. This I had none, and I was just blown away. Blood Message was awesome.
It's wild, like how that genre or like kind of aesthetic and setting has exploded in terms of number of releases the past 3 years, even. Just like that kind of not medieval, but feudal Japan, China.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a cool aesthetic, and it works.
It is, but
the story they want to tell
like
is awesome.
Like fatigued by it.
I can see why you'd be like, oh, another game based in this. But I feel like if the story is good.
Oh, yeah.
So who knows?
But and it's like, I've heard really good things about it. It looks, like you said, it looks gorgeous. It's just like, wow, these all like came out of not out of nowhere, but it's just like we've had a lot of these. But it's good. We're still getting some bangers. So Blood Message isn't a Souls-like, right?
No, not even a little bit. Cool. I think that was a big part of why I liked it so much.
Well, good to hear.
What's your next game, buddy?
My next game would be Alien Isolation 2, the follow-up, kind of the horror, sneaky.
Now, this is not one I got to play, and it also wasn't one I really tried to want to get into, because scary games scare me, and I didn't want to embarrass myself in front of the Sega staff, so I didn't.
So it was weird. Oh, excuse me.
You're excused.
So it was interesting. Where they had the demo, they had everyone in a pitch black room and then they divided everyone into their own unique little solid black cubicles. So it was pitch dark, and they had infrared cameras to record you. Visually and like atmospherically, it's gorgeous. Like even in this early state, it really was impressive. But like you could tell that they were hoping like you would jump out of your seat and you get good reactions. Like I never did. Like I was more just like, okay, I know there were still very much those moments. It's like, okay, ooh, a flash of lightning and a thunder, like because you started out like outside in the like impending rainstorm, and then you find the derelict crashed ship from the first game, and then you go in, and then that's when you start seeing the alien, the xenomorph, and it's like
what's crazy is I know immediately I would have jumped. I would have given them exactly what they wanted.
And you can tell there were those beats where people will jump, and I've just never been like I've jumped at games. Like there have been points, like especially like in Resident Evil, like Requiem, seeing like the big giant wet nurse lady or whatever right in the beginning. I remember the first time I played that demo that made me jump. But it felt like it was a bit telegraphed, like it was coming. But I honestly just got more frustrated getting lost trying to find my. So you get in to the ship, you repair some pieces, and then shit goes wrong and you have to kind of backtrack, but there's no like map and all the corridors look the same. So it was just repetition of trying to find my way back to where I needed to while getting around the alien. I can definitely see why it's some people's jam. I didn't not like it. I just wasn't like, ooh, like I didn't have those.
Oh God, drop the controller. Oh no.
And I think my lack of emotion is probably why they haven't sent me my footage of playing the game.
That's a bummer.
But no, it was still cool. I think the people that like the first game will really dig the second game, and I think the more open spaces and the mixture of the science, like the vessels and more science fiction-y hallways combined with the open landscape, the natural environment will be a really cool twist. And
I'm just really excited for fans.
Audio wonderfully, like how it plays with light and shadow and audio is very, very good.
Well, I'm just happy for fans because I don't think anyone really expected a sequel to this.
Yeah.
So I hope it does well. I hope it does well, better out the gate than the first one did, because I remember everyone talking about how it was a huge flop. Even though it then became a very beloved cult classic. But I mean, time is weird for video games sometimes.
Yeah.
I want to talk about another one that, or why don't you just continue on and double dip on the Alien for us?
Yeah, because on the complete opposite front, I also played Aliens Elite Fireteam 2, which is like a cooperative squad-based shooter, like where you have classes. It's very kind of your standard third-person cooperative like facing off waves, completing objectives shooter game, where you are a soldier, you are lowered to the bear, and then you just mow down waves of aliens and synths, and their unique kind of versions that you have to deal with. It was fun. It's one of those games that I would happily play with a gang, like over a weekend, like a good like popcorn game, basically. Had a fun time with that. I had played the original Elite Fireteam that came out 2019, I think, maybe 2018. But this new one, it introduces you can now have teams of up to 4 players instead of 3, so that's cool.
All games are better with 4.
True. So yeah, that was fun. It was a good time. It was a complete opposite end of the things, where you are the hunter and not the hunted, as you are in isolation. So yeah, it was kind of a fun dichotomy, seeing how they both play out and using the IP, what the similarities were and how they were different. So it was pretty neat.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
My next game, is I want to talk about Control Resonant. Did you get to play that?
So I was actually, because we had headphones and in the dark, I didn't realize I was late for my Control appointment. So by the time I got done with my Alien appointment, they let me play late with that I didn't realize. So by the time I got out, I was late for my Control appointment, and they already filled my spot.
Aww.
So I didn't get to play Control, which I'm bummed about.
I am very sorry.
Yeah.
I will try not to make it sound too cool so you don't feel bad. Control Resonant was a real letdown, man. Like it was nothing I expected, nothing I wanted. I just walked away. No, I can't do that to him. Control Resonant was another one of my favorite demos of the show. I'm a big fan of the first Control, a fan of Alan Wake 1 and 2, but definitely I was more a Control fan than Alan Wake fan. Just I vibe more with that genre of game. I really like the story of the oldest house. Jesse was a really likable character, and so this game takes place an unspecified amount of time after the first game. It opens with Jessie gone. She's left the oldest house. We don't know why. There's been a containment breach, and the Hiss have escaped from the oldest house and have now taken over Manhattan, basically. You play as Jesse's brother, who's finally awoken from his coma. He's designated a dangerous weapon by the oldest house and is supposed to be quarantined, but he decides to go search for his sister and try and stop the Hiss. And right off the bat, I have to give Remedy credit for this, because not enough people I've seen say this, is that they have not rested on their laurels once. Every single game is almost a complete reinvention of gameplay, of combat, of everything. Like Alan Wake did not play like Control, did not play like Quantum Break, did not play like Alan Wake 2, and now Control Resonant controls and plays very differently from Control 1, where Control 1 was more of a third-person shooter and it dealt more with long-distance attacks and telekinetic abilities. Control Resonant is all melee-focused. It's all about getting all up close and personal with these Hiss demons, and it's really fun. Like, within the first 30 minutes of the game, you rapidly unlock your choice of primary weapon. The game gives you 3 options every time. So you get a primary weapon, you get a secondary weapon that focuses on, so the primary weapon focuses on damage, the secondary weapon focuses on stagger, basically like breaking them so that they get stunned. You unlock a telekinetic ability, you unlock a double jump, a sprint, an air dash, a glide. Like, you are unlocking all these abilities in rapid succession that you feel combat and traversal feel really tight and fun. The combat usually revolves around the fact that there are enemies called heavies that you have to focus on, because the fodder enemies will continue to spawn in until those are taken out. So you don't get to just kind of chip away at stuff. It forces you to kind of keep mixing up in the action, or you'll be overwhelmed eventually. I really liked it. The boss battle they let us play was visually incredibly inventive and was a fun fight. I have no idea where the combat is going, or not the combat, the plot, which I think is
Remedy.
They showed in part of the trailer I guess what I'm hoping is their version of Ashtray Maze in this game. It's this huge cubicle, like 3-dimensional maze of offices, and you can flip gravity to go around. It was cool. And then they also had, they showed us a glimpse of the open world, like Manhattan area, where there's side quests and treasure chests to find and monsters to fight. And there's just, it feels like there's a lot of content in this game, even compared to the first Control, which was a fairly meaty experience for a genre. So I'm excited. I think, I don't think visually it's going to blow anybody away. I think of the September games, it's probably the weakest graphically, but I also think it's the one that least needs to rely on graphics, compared to like Onimusha or Silent Hill or anything like that. Like, Control is just, it's about the plot, it's about the gameplay, and for what it is, it still looks good. Like, the particle effects and everything are nice, but graphics wasn't what I was blown away by Control. So
I feel like similar to Control, in Alan Wake, I think Remedy does a really good job in building a really solid art direction.
Yes.
Where, like you said, it doesn't need to necessarily rely on the best AAA visuals, but it doesn't have to, because it has the wild kind of mind-bending oddity aesthetic and art direction that really sets it apart, that it doesn't need to, like you said. And the people that love Remedy are already going to jump on it. I just hope that it will entice new players to come in.
I worry that its September release date is Control is going to be the one to suffer the most from that.
Was any of the development team there that you got to talk to or ask questions?
I actually got to interview the level designer and the art designer. Both of them were a delight of people, and you could tell there's been so much passion put into this game. It was awesome. They in fact won a Saki Award.
Oh, nice. Did you ever play FBC Firebreak by chance?
FBC Firebreak? I don't think I did.
That's the cooperative shooter set in the oldest house that came out last year.
I know. No, I'm going to be real. I hadn't even heard of it. I just typed it in and looked it up. That's crazy. How did I not know this was even a thing? But it certainly goes to my theory of they never repeat the game. This is nothing like anything else. That's crazy.
But yeah, that was an interesting game. I was just curious if they were doing anything with that or any tie-ins. But
yeah, no, cool. I mean if I had known this was a thing, I could have asked that. I have no idea. Wild.
Yeah.
Knowing them, they don't do anything for nothing. So that's true. Probably gonna pop up in some capacity. Okay,
that's
cool.
True.
What's your next one?
My next one is let's see, what do I want to talk about? Let's do Granblue Fantasy Relink Endless Ragnarok, the new expansion to 2024's big anime mission-based game. I got a chance to check out and play a little bit of the new expansion that's coming out next month. Very excited for. So leading up to this, I hadn't previously played Relink itself, or really any of the Granblue products. So going into, when I knew that I was doing this demo, I went back and played through Relink and have had just an amazing time with it. So I was ready and excited to check out some of the content in the new one. New story, new all that, but Relink is adding a lot of new mechanics. And one of the really cool new additions is the ability to summon creatures, bosses, and stuff to fight for you in the story now. There's the team has added 100+ summons that you can do. Like some are fun, like you can rain down crabs and call in cat samurai and then bring in bosses. It's a lot of fun, really cool stuff. A brand new difficulty level. They're adding crossplay, releasing the Switch 2 version, all this sorts of stuff. But it's, it feels really good. And I think if you are ever interested in, or if you find yourself interested in anime action RPGs with mission-based structures and a solid story, even if you have no knowledge or experience with the Granblue Fantasy series or mobile games or the fighters, Relink is a really fun game to get into, and just you can plow through the story pretty quickly, within 10 to 15 hours, especially quicker if you skip story cutscenes and stuff, which are fine. I mean, the story itself in Relink didn't do much for me, especially because I didn't know the characters, but the gameplay is where this really shines. And Endless Ragnarok is just more of the same, but more cool, badass stuff. So really excited, a bunch of new characters, 7 new characters, mastery systems that let you further kind of tailor your play style, how you want with each character, all sorts of cool stuff. So really, really enjoyed Endless Ragnarok and very excited for when that releases next month. So
I think it's really cool when games like that are new person friendly.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times things can get so bogged down by their own history that it makes it really hard to break through. So it's good to know that as someone like you that hadn't actually played anything before, you were still able to enjoy it.
I at the same time though, like I don't necessarily think I wouldn't consider it new user friendly if you're going in for the story. Like there's a lot of things it doesn't tell you about. It doesn't really flesh out much of the information of the cast of characters you're surrounding yourself with. Like the main characters you just kind of dropped in, they start hurling terms at you, and yeah, there's like a appendix that you can look through. But gameplay wise, it's a lot of fun to dive into, but probably for a good few hours, and even still having played it, I don't know half the things that really went on. It was just a fun game to play. So it did make me interested in the Granblue series, so I might go and try out Granblue Fantasy on my Thor, my AYN Thor. But yeah, from a gameplay perspective, it's awesome. I had a really good time. So yeah.
Let's see. My next one, I want to talk about. Did you play Stranger Than Heaven?
I have not. I've never really dove too deeply into the Yakuza series. So, and then all the things that have come out like with Stranger of Heaven, like the whole Tupac shit and everything. I'm like, that is
such a weird.
This is so not my game.
That's fair. I really wish the Tupac thing never happened because it's such a besmirchment on what I feel is actually a really cool new entry in the studio's series, because it's not a Yakuza game. And I think going in there expecting it to be a new Yakuza game is going to turn a lot of people off. I feel like this is going to be an incredibly polarizing experience, regardless of the plot, regardless of Snoop Dogg and Tupac and I always forget, but the other brought from the dead Japanese actor, I forget his name, but in the same vein, all of that aside, I feel like fans that don't follow or aren't terminally online and don't know anything and just see that it's the new game by the Yakuza people, I feel are going to get very polarized.
In the world of it, right? It's like
I don't actually. I feel like it's possible. I don't know. I think
it's a backstory of one of the characters from Yakuza.
I am unaware of that. It might be. I'd be prior to SGF. I went in not really have watched any of the trailers. I didn't. I like to go in not knowing very much.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very possible. I will secede that point to you if true.
It
that's
is a prequel.
Okay, but gameplay wise, it plays nothing like it. If Like a Dragon or Yakuza 7 was a huge shift from 1 through 6 in gameplay, this is an equally different shift, because the Yakuza action gameplay is very over the top, very actiony. It's very silly. You can more or less get through combat by being ridiculous, but this game is way more grounded, way more realistic, and it has a very unique and novel control scheme that I'd never really experienced before. The triggers and the bumpers, the left trigger and bumper is your left hand, and the right trigger and bumper is your right hand, weak and strong attacks, and you have to press them in combo left and right, and your positioning matters, and what your enemies are doing matters. If an enemy's grabbing your left hand, you have to use your right hand to punch them off or grab an incoming enemy. You can't just button mash it all. You will get your ass curb stomped. To parry, you have to parry with the hand that corresponds to the side the attack is coming to.
Okay.
There is no just like block button. It is you parry from the left if an attack's coming from the left. Same with the right. You can dodge. There is a perfect parry timing, and the combat is brutally difficult.
Sounds soulsy.
I hesitate to make that connection, but people probably will. It is a difficult game. The demo was 3 fights throughout 3 of the decades of the story, The first one puts you up against just a group of, random thugs. The second one puts you against a bigger group of thugs and a giant brute enemy, but also introduced the weapon combat. They said there's going to be 13 weapons available in the main game.
Oh, nice.
There was 3 in the demo. I used the 2-handed crowbar, which acted more like a broadsword to give it perspective in similar games.
Okay.
And then the third fight was a one-on-one boss battle against a Yakuza, where it wasn't even just one parry. You had to be able to parry their series of blows in order to not take damage. It was incredibly difficult. I managed to do it. I could tell it was hard because I literally got like claps from the band, the Sega reps there, and I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah." And then you read everyone's previews, and you're like, all everyone's talking about is how hard the game is, and that's part of why I think it's going to be so polarizing. It's a very difficult combat with very specific controls that require a lot of thought put into how you approach combat, whereas either the RPG ones or the action ones, you can more or less button press your way to victory with a couple combos. Not the case on this one.
Interesting.
I walked away really liking the gameplay, and it's why the choices they're making with the story, or at least the casting, is bumming me out, because I just want to enjoy the game without like an asterisk. You know what I mean? We'll see.
RGG Studios gotten weird. Like
they've gotten very weird.
Really
things are happening over there, and I don't know what's going on.
Between the Yakuza 3 remake, remaster, and then stuff with here, and it's getting messy, which is a shame, because I know so many friends of ours are big fans of the Yakuza series.
I am one of them. What's your next one, buddy?
Oh, let's see. Are you a fan of the Resident Evil games? I know you've mentioned that you're not a big scary game guy, but I'm curious what your thoughts on Resident Evil
is a franchise that I do enjoy.
Have you ever played the original Code Veronica?
I have. Dreamcast.
What did you think of the announcement for Veronica?
I feel like it was expected. Like it was with all the remakes of the other ones that they've done. I felt next. I thought the way they did it was really good, and I like the way Capcom's been handling these remakes, where it's not just a 1-to-1 remake. Yeah. There's a lot of new content and reimagining of stuff that elevates the experience. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too. I have downloaded on my PlayStation right now the PSN kind of remaster of Code Veronica X.
Oh, nice.
That I want to play through, but I have not played through it before. But great way to start the show, the live stream show. And yeah,
but there was no demo of it.
There was no demo,
which was a bummer.
And it was weird. So they had like a Q&A session, like a 15-20 minute long Q&A session you could do with one of the directors. I'm blanking on his name right now. But they could tell you so little. Like, he couldn't answer very many questions. It was a very strange, probably one of the strangest kind of sessions or appointments I had. The group interview one, but I'm still excited for it. It looks neat. Like the gameplay trailer they showed looks really neat. I
think it would be more shocking if it was bad with the quality of all of the remakes lately. And main games.
Yeah. Yes, but I think a lot of people are also a little leery after Resident Evil 3. Like, Resident Evil 4 was really good, but I think Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is still kind of on people's minds, and just how much was taken out and whatnot. So I think people are like excited, but still like watching it closely. But yeah, I'm excited for it. Like, just another awesome game that Capcom has next year. So yeah. That was one of the cool things that I saw. So,
do you have another demo that you got to play?
So I checked out Crimson Moon and Nakomi Nazi Hunter.
Tell me about Crimson Moon.
Yeah, so it's take like a roguelike, like a Hades kind of thing, and make it a Souls game. In essence. So you play as like a knightish character where You start a run, gameplay feels very much like a Souls-like. You have gear you can output yourself with, very dodge heavy, very punishing game. Visually, I thought it looked really cool. Even it didn't feel as tight or as good to play as a Souls, like a From Software Souls game or like a Lies of P. But yeah, I died pretty quickly. I didn't complete a run. I didn't even get to the boss. It was quite embarrassing. Controls felt a little off.
Maybe get good.
Yeah, I just needed to get good. But yeah, it was fun. It was good. I don't think it's going to be one of those games that I really want to pick up afterwards.
But are you happy you played it?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting.
In the sense of like, now you know, right?
Exactly. And like, I dig the aesthetic. I like the idea. I think having a roguelike Souls game is kind of cool. We haven't really seen
two words that just, when combined, is the most anti-Finn thing. It hurts. Like, yeah. I think if I had a magic wand and I could remove one genre from existence, it would probably be the roguelike. I just don't vibe with that. I don't like to play games to redo parts over and over again. Like, I want to make progression. I like RPGs. I like action games or narrative story games. Like, I like to keep progressing and experience something. I don't like to you died. I know you get to keep some stuff, but redo all that again real quick. Not my jam. There, like you mentioned with Souls stuff, like there's always games that transcend that, and I enjoy in the genre. It's not like I like blank it out. Anyway, I'm rambling. Yeah. Anyway, good times.
No, I get it, and I'm very much like how I have Souls fatigue. I'm very much in the point of having roguelike fatigue. And I remember a number of years ago when everyone was doing Metroidvanias, and I had fatigue of that. So
I've never got fatigue of that yet. I'm ready.
Yeah. Well, it died down, and I feel like roguelikes took the place of the Metroidvania.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, I really wish we had gotten Castlevania.
I know.
I am so excited for that game.
That's gonna look so good. Sir, would you like to play my deck building roguelike Souls game? Would you like to play my deck building roguelike Souls game?
Yeah. I'll get right on that.
Great. Did you get to play Sonic Pico Park?
I did not.
My God, so fun.
I've never played Pico Park. So what? Tell me a bit about that.
Let me tell you about Pico Park. It is the most unhinged multiplayer co-op experience you'll ever play. It was one of the games we played for our Extra Life charity last year. And it was the game that we busted out when we were like running low on energy and sleep, and it brought us all back up for a second win. It is so much fun. It is so ridiculous. You're yelling at each other, trying to get things to work out. And then Sonic Pico Park just adds Sonic elements to the Chaos Emerald of Pico Park. Like Sonic and Amy don't have any special abilities, but Tails can fly and pick up people. Knuckles can glide. They've got rings that'll help you survive a hit. They have bumpers and stuff. Like there's the Sonic element has elevated the Pico Park experience. Even just the opening like couple stages that they let us play were so much fun, and knowing just how convoluted they get moving down the line. I think Sonic Pico Park is going to be a streaming game darling. Like a community night type thing. Like, you got to play this with friends. It has couch co-op. I believe it also has online co-op coming, but
probably the original
Sonic
Pico Park had online co-op.
It looks so much fun. Oh my God. I will stand and push a Pico Park on anyone I can. So the fact I was like one of the few people that are like Sonic Pico, like I'm like, fuck yeah. And everyone was like, Pico Park, really? That's the one you're excited about? I'm like, yes, please get me in. It was fantastic.
Nice. I'll have to check those out. I'll have to check those games out. They look cute.
All right, Scott's turn.
Really, I would say Go, because I think the last game we be really checked out will be the big one that we've been.
So I only have
back
two others then before that big one that we are both going to talk about. So I have a Tomb Raider Legacy. Okay. I got to play that. And I'm going to be real. I didn't even know it was a remake of the original game. That's how little I was following it. I just remember seeing the trailer and being like, oh, this looks awesome. A new Tomb Raider game, because I never played the original PS1 Tomb Raider games.
Me either.
I played the reboot trilogy, Tomb Raider, Rise, and Shadow, and I really loved them. But a blind spot in my gaming history has always been the originals, because during that era, I was busy playing the nonstop cascade of PS1 RPGs. I didn't have time to play the booby gun game. But knowing this is a remake of 1, I can't compare it, but all I can say is it was really fun. It was really well made. The demo was an hour, and they had to like nudge you if you were taking too long, because the open air, the first area, there was so much to explore. So even though I knew it was a demo, I still wanted to find all the collectibles and secrets, even though I knew it wasn't going to carry over. But I thought the traversal was really well done. She has a kind of a floaty jump. It feels very like arcadey almost. Yeah, kind of like they're going for that vibe. So, but I quickly got used to that. But the puzzles were fun. When they dropped you into the combat, I thought the combat was really well done. They added like a Max Payne style bullet time moment as well. Oh, nice. And then the iconic chase sequence with the T-Rex was very well implemented, even though it cut off halfway to like be like, boom, demo over. I walked out of that being like, hell yeah, I'm very excited to experience the first Tomb Raider for the first time. I can't speak to how it holds up as a remake. To me, it might as well just be a brand new game. So I'm excited.
Nice. I wish that these big kind of bombastic remakes also offered as an unlockable the old version, like the original version.
That'd be so cool.
You know, and I love that about Final Fantasy Tactics, the Evil Ace Chronicles, that they had the original version that you could play. But like with the Crash Bandicoot remakes, why couldn't they include the small files of the original Crash Bandicoots? Like this Tomb of Atlantis, why couldn't we get the original Tomb Raider included? It would just be so neat.
Also,
just as a time capsule.
It makes me think of Dragon Quest XI, how you could swap between 2D gameplay and 3D gameplay. Like, stuff like that's just cool. It's just fun. Like, give me a toggle to put a filter over the game to make it look like a PS1 game. Even if you're not going to include it. That'd just be fun stuff. And who knows, maybe they are. Maybe that is an option that you get to unlock.
Get
Probably
PS1 model cool. Lara.
Yeah. The next game before our final game is Stuntman Hollywood.
Okay.
I was a fan of the original Stuntman on PS2. Brutally hard game. That game was not for casual racing fans, which I was. I've never enjoyed sucking so bad at a racing game. And then I kind of skipped over the 360 Stuntman Ignition. I just assumed the franchise was gone. So when that
has been since then.
Yeah, then when that trailer dropped, I was stunned that that's what it was. And I think it's really cool that they're leaning into their partnership with Universal and getting a lot of classic like cinematic cars in it. So the demo we played, you got to play as the DeLorean in one of the DeLorean levels, which was really cool. So you're going through, you've got your headset on, the director's talking to you, telling you what stunts you need to do. You're getting graded on your accuracy. And even as a demo, it was still very hard. Like I failed multiple times. But the thing is, it was never because the game was cheap or unfair. It was always my skill issue. And it felt kind of like playing an old NES game where it was about learning what was coming up so you could build a memory, And then the more I progressed, the further I would get until I would finally clear the stage and get like a really good score. But I had to earn that. And I thought it was really cool. I thought the presentation and the different set pieces they put you in, especially just for the demo, was really impressive. It feels very arcadey. It feels in a world where the arcade racer has become more and more hard to find. It's really nice. I feel there's strong burnout DNA in this game for the gameplay, which I say that with praise. Exactly. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I didn't know what to expect. I was worried about how it would play out 10, 15 years after the fact. But yeah, Stuntman Hollywood looks solid.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people really liking it that got to play it. So glad to add you to the list.
Now, let's end on the only demo that wasn't a demo. It was an experience. It was a demo, but we did not get to play it. It was a hands-off.
The privileged few that got our hands on with it, yes.
It was a hands-off guided experience of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3.
Yes.
So, I want to point out something, Scott, is that Xenoverse 2 came out in 2016. There's been a decade of Xenoverse 2. And it is probably one of the most supported games Bandai has ever dropped. Because did you know that next month is another DLC content pack dropping for Xenoverse 2?
Yeah, I think it's the last one, isn't it?
Sure. They've said that several times.
Good point.
I think this time they might actually mean it. But the fact that for a decade, this game has been getting almost nonstop, like bi-yearly content drops, because this is going to be pack 20, DLC pack 20 that drops. And each one, and I mean, it's crazy because they keep getting stuff to pull from, like with the Dragon Ball Super movies, they were given brand new content. With Dragon Ball Daima, they were given brand new content. With all of the other stuff, they keep having stuff to pull from. And now with Xenoverse 3 dropping right when the anime is picking back up to adapt all of the manga chapters,
stuff,
I'm so excited to see like what they pull from now. I don't know. The demo they showed us was cool because it looks like they've merged Xenoverse gameplay with Kakarot gameplay.
Yeah. I'm going to mention currently is in my written draft for this.
By the time people see this, embargo will be up and our articles will be out.
We're close to being out.
Yeah.
I was surprised how kind of Kakarot forward this game looks like. That looks much more like an action RPG. Like you have character levels, you have the damage numbers when you do attacks.
But also the fact that instead of just dropping you in the fight, you have several like minion battles as well to go through.
You have to like fight through a level,
yeah. So it for those that are familiar with Kakarot, it feels very similar to that vibe, but then the gameplay itself is very Xenoverse-y.
Well, and even Kakarot felt pretty Xenoverse-y, or like it had that action combat, spark or Tenkaichi-esque gameplay to it. Looks really good. I was never a big fan of the visual style of Xenoverse 2. Everything felt just very plasticky.
Yeah.
Everything looked very shiny.
I think Xenoverse 3 really benefited from 10 years later of graphical technology.
It looked like an anime game and not like you're playing with action figures. And I think that the fact that it is leaning into more of an RPG, it appears to be leaning more into the RPG side of things like Kakarot, is partly because with Sparking Zero Out, we don't really need like an arena fighter per se.
Yeah, like you got to differentiate.
We get that. Like if you want to like just a Dragon Ball Z simulator, like your base arena fighter, you got your Sparking Zero, where they're making this more like maybe a cooperative Kakarot, really. Looks good. I like the look of the female human. We got kind of the default female human look with the red hair, so that was cool.
I thought what was really surprising to me, so like in the demo, they were given an option between a Saiyan and a human, even though we also got confirmation of other races, because one of the cool things I noticed was that when you drop into a level, you're now dropped with a squad of 4. Now, I don't know if they mentioned this. I would be interested to know. Maybe I just missed them mentioning it, but I think it would be cool if you get to customize your squad as well, or if it's just randomly assigned to you when you enter a mission. because we saw from that the Frost Demon clan and the Majin race are both available as well, because those were two of the people that dropped in along with the brand new original character Brett, which I still think is hilarious, because in a world of the most ridiculous pun names, whether based around articles of clothing or vegetables and food,
I feel like it must be like a
Brett
in bread.
Maybe, but the fact that it's just a regular like frat boy name, like this is Brett, he can bench 310, like
how
I
far
just think
the
it's
Dragon
hilarious.
Ball world has fallen in the 1,000 years in this unknown feature that we have Brett.
Here's Brett saving the world before his next calculus exam. I don't know. Like I can't get over the name. It makes me giggle every time. But yeah, the gameplay was cool. It ended on a fight with Broly, showing off how you can use the environment to your advantage by hiding behind glaciers to avoid his like scatter attacks. And then they showed a new mechanic, which was the soul switch thing, where you get to like basically equip a classic Dragon Ball character and summon them and become them for like 60 seconds using their iconic attacks. Like he was using his burning attack and his heat dome attack, and then you swap back to your create a character. But I thought that was a cool mechanic.
Yeah, so you have soul attacks, which basically calls in those legacy characters as like assist. So they'll come in, you can call in Trunks, he'll do his burning attack, stuff like that. You have soul switch, which lets you temporarily become that Dragon Ball Z character you have equipped with access to their moveset, their skills and stuff like that. But what I found interesting is instead of using soul switch, you can use your awakening, which is your form change, your Super Saiyan, your Kaioken, stuff like that. Which we also got a tease of. We got shown off right at the end, the Saiyans transforming Super Saiyan, and then also Super Saiyan 3. So that's nifty.
Because, I mean, one of the coolest things in Xenoverse 2 is just being able to, like, equip different transformations. So it's nice that we get, like, stealth confirmations of mechanics that I assumed would still be coming. But, until you see it, it's just a guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it looked very Xenoverse-y, very Kakarot-y. Fans of those will be... I'm hoping that it'll bring in a new group of fans. The question's going to be, are people that have invested a decade into their characters in Xenoverse 2 going to be willing to jump over to 3 and have to start brand new, fresh?
I think they will, just because Xenoverse isn't so much like an MMO,
Yeah.
I think at this point, they've had a bunch of content, but it's not like an MMO where you go back and you investigate, like, you can... storylines and things like that. I think people, it was like, I've done this raid so many times, I'm kind of over it.
I mean, that's fair.
I do hope that there's some maybe sort of save bonus, like if you have X amount, or like if you completed this raid or reached this tier, maybe you'll get some additional bonuses or like a special badge or something. But I think the Xenoverse community has been just so kind of done with Xenoverse 2. That they're ready to move on, especially with the multiplayer aspect. I'm hoping the online component of Xenoverse 3 is vastly improved over Xenoverse 2, because that was pretty rough trying to play online with your friends. But I like you said, I'm very excited. I'm glad it's here. I think it looks a lot better. I'm excited to see more of it. I'm honestly really hopeful that they'll release like a super ultimate bundle collection for Xenoverse 2, everything,
like the final edition with everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I played a lot of Xenoverse 2 back in the day when it first came out, and I tried to keep up, but it quickly became overwhelming to try and keep up with everything. And I'd love to go back and revisit it and really check out all the things I missed, but there's just so much stuff now, so many characters, so many stories, all that. I would really appreciate if Bandai Namco released just one all-encompassing package. So we'll see.
Here's hoping. But yeah, that's it for the big game, the non-indie games I played at SGF. I had a great time. It was a wonderful experience.
It was a lot of fun.
Thank you for being on the show, buddy. It was nice to chat with you.
Sorry about last week.
Hey, you're busy. You got stuffs to do.
true story. But I'm glad this worked out.
But honestly, it worked out because now everything we talked about will no longer be embargoed, and
there you
we
go.
can post it. All worked out.
It was meant to be.
Yeah, just like our friendship.
It's true.
Scott, why don't you tell people where they can follow you and see you and whatnot?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Blue Sky at Professor RPG. You can also find me on X, Twitter. I don't really post it over there anymore, but it still exists. It's still there.
Yeah.
And then find my stuff at IGN. I got a bunch of previews from SGF over there. RPG site, I got some over there. And then you'll have a couple over on Irrational Passions as well.
Heck yeah.
Well, yeah.
All right, buddy. You have a lovely evening. For everyone else,
you as well.
Peace out. NOLAnerdcast, Saki bless, all that fun stuff. See you next time on the Flippy Floppy. I don't know why I say things.